Their votes were simply erased. Nobody knows what the actual will of the room was because the room was never allowed to fully express it. The Daughters of the American Revolution were founded because a bunch of men told a group of women, not here. That was 1890. This week, 136 years later, that same organization voted twice, after a lot of very convenient chaos, on whether woman still means anything at all inside the one institution that exists because of that word. I'm going to walk you through exactly how that vote happened, who ran it, who it silenced, and why the people who spent the other 364 days of the year warning you about the patriarchy have had absolutely nothing to say about it. My name is Kelly Jackson. This is Still Not Canceled, where we question everything, especially the narrative. Let's dig in. First, I have a clip with Molly Hemingway from Fox News that kind of breaks everything down.
Of the American Revolution rejected a proposal to limit membership to people born female. Supporters of the effort took social media saying things like womanhood has been man-jacked. Joining us now is Fox News contributor Molly Hemingway, the editor-in-chief of The Federalist. Molly, it's so great to see you. Let's start real quickly by telling people, what is the Daughters of the Revolution and why are they so important?
Daughters of the American Revolution started in 1890 in response to Sons of the American Revolution, which had started the year prior. These are biological hereditary groups where if you can prove that you are linked to an actual soldier who fought in the Revolutionary War, you are eligible for membership. Now, Daughters of the American Revolution has become much bigger than Sons of the American Revolution. They focus on patriotism, education, a love of history. But in recent years, you've had the leadership has said that they would like to sort of surreptitiously allow men to join the group so long as those men claim to be women, which is not a scientific reality.
And so, of course, they had this vote on, I think it was on Friday. And what was the result? What is there's a lot of back and forth, of course, between the two sides within the DAR. But what was the effective result of the vote?
So a couple of years ago, the leadership kind of quietly changed the bylaws to say that men could join Daughters of the American Revolution so long as they claim to be women. You've had various chapters and other groups trying to say, this is ridiculous. We are literally the Daughters of the American Revolution, and this denial of reality does not fit with our charter. So the most recent effort was just this week, a group of women tried to say, it doesn't matter if, for an organization based on an ability to prove biological relationship to a soldier, it doesn't make sense to say if you can have a state alter your birth certificate to say that you're a female when you're a male, that therefore you're eligible for this women-only organization. But that vote did fail. Now, the leadership has been adamant that the members shouldn't really get a say here, and they've done all sorts of tricks in the last couple of years to keep women from being able to have a say or to get a fair vote. And you've also seen a loss of membership in various chapters. So it's a real catastrophically bad decision for the Daughters of the American Revolution.
Yeah, you have an organization that's built entirely on biology, and then suddenly they're going to complain about the fact that you use biology in order to pick out the people who can join. Real quickly, we got to go, but your daughters, for example, you recently learned are eligible to join the Daughters of the American Revolution.
Yes, my children.
What does this decision mean for them?
Yeah, my children, through their father, are eligible to join Daughters of the American Revolution. They will not join a group that has accepted this left-wing ideology that is contrary to science, reason, and logic. It's a really sad thing. Yeah. People are so happy when they can identify that they are biologically related to someone who fought in the revolution, and to destroy the very thing that makes DAR so great is a curious choice by the leadership there.
Truly, truly incredible and very sad. Molly Hemingway, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hemingway gave you the shape of it. Here's the substance underneath it. Start with the thing DAR itself won't say plainly. Membership requires two things: a birth certificate showing you're female and a documented bloodline back to a Revolutionary War patriot. 2 boxes, but only one of them has to hold up under scrutiny. The bylaws never actually define woman. So a birth certificate amended to reflect gender identity clears the bar just as easily as one reflecting biological sex at birth, while your lineage claim still has to survive genealogists picking apart 250-year-old church registries and land deeds. Laura McDonald, one of the members fighting this, put it plainly. The standard for proving you're a woman collapsed to nothing, while the standard for proving your ancestry only got stricter. It's completely backward. And the vote itself wasn't just close. It was managed. Women sat in a freezing hall from 8 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. No food or water allowed in. 2 20-minute bathroom breaks in 12 plus hours. And if you left the room for any reason outside of those windows, you didn't get back in to vote. Cheating allegations forced the executive committee to hold the vote a second time, except many women who'd already cast a ballot and gone home were never notified of the redo. Their votes were simply erased. Nobody knows what the actual will of the room was because the room was never allowed to fully express it. Then there's the notification itself. DAR's own rules require the entire membership be notified before a resolution like this goes to a vote. McDonald says about 3% were. 3%. Leadership got there by quietly adding the resolution to the Continental Congress agenda instead of calling the special meeting members had actually requested. A procedural sidestep that let them dodge the 100% notification requirement entirely. And here's the part that should end any pretense that this was a neutral process. At least 3 members of DAR's own executive committee, including the sitting president general, belong to the advocacy group pushing to keep the door open. The people refereeing this vote had already picked a side. Members who've spoken up say they've been told that they'll be blackballed for even discussing it. So the picture isn't the membership deliberated and decided. It's leadership running out the clock on a fight they know they'd lose if the whole membership actually got to weigh in. Sounds like the convention versus primaries fight in Tennessee, which is exactly why a special meeting is now scheduled for October 11th, the one where this time everyone is supposed to be notified. Whether that actually happens is the next thing that is worth watching. So the obvious question is this: what was the point of founding this organization in the first place if the one line that made it a women's space is now optional? DAR exists because in 1890, women were told not here by a men's only club and built their own institution instead. That is not incidental history. That's the entire founding document. And now from the inside, that same defining line is being erased by leadership that includes the organization's own president. You'd think this is exactly the kind of story that gets the feminist movement out of bed. An institution created explicitly as a space for women, being told by its own leadership that woman doesn't need to mean anything in particular anymore. Where's the National Organization for Women? Where are the marches, the op-eds, the statements? I went looking and I couldn't find a single one. Not from NOW, not from any major feminist organization that spends the other 11 months of the year telling you the patriarchy is alive, hunting women's spaces. When actual women, 984 of them by name on the record, stood up and said, "We'd like this to remain a space for just women," the response from the people who claim to speak for women was close to nothing. That's the tell. This was never really about protecting women's spaces. It's about which women get protected and which ones get told to sit in a freezing hall for 12 hours and then get overruled anyway. If you found this breakdown valuable, hit the like, the subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to see the receipts for themselves. Comment below with what you want me to dig into next. I read every single one of those comments, and I love engaging with my audience. My name is Kelly Jackson, and this is Still Not Canceled, where we question everything, especially the narrative. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.